Look at Germany with all these poets they had and the composers they had, like Bach and Mozart and Beethoven, um, the sciences, like all the people in like Freud, and then I don't know, all the and then Goethe and Schiller, all the poets that we had.
That's right. Yep.
And we don't have that anymore since the Jesuits came to us. And then don't forget that in 1872, Bismarck threw the Jesuits out of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. They were expelled from 83 nations. 83.
Yeah, but I speak of 1872.
Mm-hmm.
They were expelled from 83 nations in 1773. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's 100 years before that, huh, Alan?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm talking about 1872 with Bismarck. That was actually the first German Reich, if you want to call it like that, because he put it all together.
Yes.
The Jesuits came hard on it, and it's the same. You can take the same example on Iraq. Hussein threw the Jesuits out in 1989, was it? Or 1979, or what year was it?
I think it was 89. I think it was.
Yeah, but he threw the Jesuits out, and look what they did to that country.
Well, obviously they could have taken them out in the first attack through General Schwarzkopf, and Bush, Herbert Walker Bush. They could have completely destroyed Iraq on the first attack, but they didn't. They left it
in
for
1991.
Yes, they left it for another 10 years, exactly 10 years after 9/11, to justify completely, once again, creating wars, revolutions. And then if you look at Iraq today, it's completely controlled by the Council on Foreign Relations, completely. Same with Afghanistan. I mean, the Prime Minister of Afghanistan, he goes to Jesuit Georgetown University. He's under the power of the Black Pope, the Jesuit general. That's clear. You see the same thing in Syria, and I was saying this last night. I mean, Assad, he's a Vatican Knight of St. Lazarus. And if you look at the King Abdullah II of Jordan, he also is a Knight of St. Lazarus. And they all go to the British Crown, they all go to Georgetown. Actually, King Abdullah II, he actually went to Georgetown and graduated in law school. But go back generations, even Lyndon B. Johnson, he graduated from Jesuit Georgetown Law School. Same with Clinton, he graduated from Jesuit Law School in Georgetown. And this is what people don't expose on the internet when they talk about this, that these Jesuits who are at the top, they're all Jesuit trained. And the Jesuits can't hide this. That's why they're coming out in the open. Because they can't hide the fact that they're in power. They can't hide it. They can't. It can be exposed. The information is on the internet, but people don't get the information. That's why the Vatican has placed so many agents online to expose a lot about FEMA, a lot about martial law. A lot of these issues are
like
brought
Alex
out.
Jones.
Yeah, they bring out a lot of truth to a point, but they keep the sheep locked away. They keep them locked away because they don't explain the real conspiracy, I brought a video, I can't remember when, I think it was last week at some point, where I was talking about, it was Texas Mars and Obama. I started off with Texas Mars, but the majority of the video was talking about how the US government itself is a Jesuit government. If you look at Obama's administration, they all come from Marquis, Holy Cross, Notre Dame, Georgetown, Fordham. They come from Jesuit universities, and that includes the NSA and the CIA and the FBI and Homeland. Honestly, they're all staffed at the top by Jesuit alumni. You don't hear that by any of these agents. That's how you know they're agents. These men cannot be ignorant. They can't be. They cannot be ignorant of this. So they're gatekeepers.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was last week.
Yeah, it was last week. It was actually during the video on Texas Mars, and underneath the description section of the video, I've got a link for the blog. On my blog, I put a whole article there on Obama and all of his advisors and all of his CIA advisors and all of his, people who are actually involved in his administration. And there's about at least 50 people there listed on the article I put on my blog, and it explains exactly where they graduated from. And but also you can go to Europe. You can look at the European Union, and it's exactly the same thing. Herman van Rompuy is the president of this Jesuit alliance, and run by the Knights of Malta. And it's just so shocking that no one actually brings it out. They don't bring it out. And yet they claim to be, exposers, You know what I mean? And all they talk about is just, I mean, Alex Jones, I'll say this and I'll finish with this because I'm probably just echoing things I've said before, but honestly, I can't watch him without laughing. The way that he hypes himself up, at the end of a broadcast with his fake rage and starts, thumping the desk and, we need to come against the New World Order. We are the resistance. And I'm just like, oh my God. And everyone's like, go on, Alex. Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Everyone, all the sheeple are like, Meh. Just,
Alan,
it's sad. It's so sad.
let me just cut in there. Why are most people not talking about the Jesuits or the Vatican Jesuit New World Order, the way I call it?
Yeah.
Vatican-Jesuit New World Order. Why do most people do not talk about that? Because the people in the world today have never been farther from God than they are now. They don't want to hear anything about God. They don't want to know anything about God. So when you say all this conspiracy has nothing to do with this worldly things like Zionists, money system, judicial system that is set up for nothing because we are all living under admiralty law instead of a real justice system.
That's right.
And with this fiat money system that they set up 100 years ago with the Federal Reserve and all that stuff. That is what people want to know. They are too stupid to comprehend that there is a religious background there. And they don't want to understand that because they are so far away from God today. People who are born don't have any idea anymore who God is, and they will most of the times not will be raised in families where religion, where the Bible, where the Word of God is taught.
Yeah.
They have no idea of that. So when you approach people and you say, well, look into this, look into the Vatican, look into the Jesuits, they look at you like a train, just not that fast, but they look at you like a train.
Yeah.
Yeah? Really, they have no idea what you're talking about. No, it's the Jews, it's the Zionists, it's all this and this and this, and look and that, and there he is, blah, blah. And then you say, but they are Knights of Malta, and they are Knights of the Garter, and Knights of this, and Knights of that. That doesn't interest them. They put you away like if you were an idiot, because you are speaking of something religious.
Well, there's two things.
When today you are speaking of something religious, the problem is that you are in the same draw as a Muslim, then you are being a fanatic.
Well, you find, Jog, I'll say this to you, you find two things. I want to say two things. First of all, you're right. Two things. The first thing is, those that are exposing the Jesuits, that they're at the top and they control the Illuminati and the New World Order, the Christians. You'll find that. All these websites are from Christians. The second thing is, the Vatican has this appearance over the last, I would say, 2 decades of being weak. A lot of scandals, a lot of corruption. So people just don't believe it. How could the Vatican control the New World Order? How can they control the one world government? It's just not possible. So people move away to something else. But also, what's happening recently with Pope Francis is you have the Jesuit general himself as the Black Pope. He's coming forth, and they're working overtime, big time, a lot of spin. They're using the media full on to push the fact that, he's a man of peace, and he's praying for Syria, and he's praying to Mary, and, he's even, it's just going so far as to embrace everybody. I mean, Muslims, homosexuals, atheists, just bringing everyone into the Vatican structure, bringing all people back to Rome, all the Protestants, the one world religion, everything. And so when people look into the papacy, you can see clearly that the Pope of Rome, the most important thing is that he has temporal power, he has political power, and people are blind to that. The politicians and the ambassadors, every single nation has an ambassador to the Vatican, and they all go there. Every president goes there, every prime minister goes there, every queen, every monarch, every prince, they all go to the papacy, and they all bow in subordination to the Pope, because he is the temporal power. Actually, he's the governor of the world. That's the real hidden conspiracy. And for generations, the Jesuits have been hiding behind the infallibility of the Pope, but now they've actually changed tactic. They've come out in the open. They've come out in the open plainly for all to see. It's in plain sight, but people can't see it. You have the Jesuit Black Papacy out there in front, so that means when Joe Biden was there, For instance, you notice Obama wasn't there. He was not there. Why wasn't he there? It was Joe Biden who was there because he is the acting president. Covertly, he is the president of the United States. He's higher than Obama because he was graduated from Santa Clara and St. Joseph's Jesuit universities. And that's the way they work. And so you have this world government that is ruled at three levels. You have the Black Pope himself. Second, you have Jesuit provincials. Then you have Vatican Knights. That's how it works. You have the black nobility. You have the monarchies. They're all under the power of the Pope of Rome. That is the truth.
But I have to agree with everything that you said. But still, I have to make my point that when you try to wake up people, they are not willing to listen to you because they are so far away from God, they cannot imagine that anything that we are experiencing right now in this world has to do anything with God. That's the point. And like you said, the sites like Unhived Mind from Craig Oxley and that stuff, that those who exposing this, like Eric Jon Phelps, people who expose that, like you, are Christians. That's right.
Yeah.
You're Christians, but you are even being attacked by people who will not go into that and say, oh, that's all religious stuff and the Bible is just written by men